Hello and welcome to another Escape from Tarkov video. Now this video is going to be the first in what I'm hoping is going to be a very cool series. The idea about this is basically I want a Red Rebel pickaxe and I want to do the trade for it. I don't want to buy one because it's 6 million rubles compared to the 2 million rubles it costs to get the trade items. So instead of trying to find the items themselves, I'm going to buy them from the flea market, but I'm going to use Scav runs to make enough money to buy the items. So I've got to make around 2 to 3 millions worth of rubles through Scav runs. And I thought it would be interesting to just basically record the Scav runs I do and break down and show you my decision making, why I choose to go to a certain map, when I choose to extract, those sort of things. And just for those who might not be aware, the Red Rebel pickaxe is probably the most expensive melee weapon in the game. And what it does is it allows you to extract from 2 spots on the map. One is on reserve and one is on woods. Now the 2 ways to get it is by trading for this item or finding it on Sturman, which would be a really good one to find. But this is a spot on reserve where you can extract from, and it's a really popular spot. I think this is more of a popular spot, like a reason for getting the Red Rebel, than the woods one, simply because this opens up, I think, the only other extract on the game. Well, actually you've got 2, but it doesn't require you to have anything other than the Red Rebel, paracord, and you can't be wearing body armor, so you've got to have a decent chest rig. But the thing about it is, it takes reserve from being a map where you can't actually extract unless you hit a button and then go to a different extract, or get on the train, or leave a backpack behind to go to a manhole. It just makes the map more viable, and that's why I want it. And it's also good for woods as well. If you want to, for example, if you were going to kill Sturman over and over again to get a Red Rebel, to get that drop and sell it for good money, well, this would be the perfect way to extract. This is just up by Spines, you know, the north tip of it when you go behind there. Basically, these 2 places connect. So above this area here is the extract you just seen previously on reserve. But I really just wanted basically to make reserve more viable for a PMC play. Reserve's a great map, but I find when you can't extract from it, it's pretty difficult. So this is the first one, and I'm spawning with a PPSH, the fire helmet, and a small bag. So my decision making here is I'm thinking, right, well I can't really fight anyone because the PPSH is going to require me to do leg meta. So you don't want to go somewhere that's massively combatant. So I decide, well, we'll go to reserve. Reserve has a lot of juice, it's got a lot of loot, but also it's a very good place to go as a Scav if you want to potentially find a better weapon than what you've got. You know, if you have like a really good weapon, if you spawn with an M700, you could go to woods and you can be competitive. You can go to reserve as well. But if you haven't got a good weapon and you want to get a better weapon, I think reserve or shoreline would be my go-to. You know, because you can get them off Scavs, you can get them off players. Interchange would be a good place to go as well. So one of the first few things I do when I spawn in is I check where my extracts are. I check my inventory for any valuable keys. I remove any helmets that are going to dampen my sound but not protect me from any bullets. And I also check what rounds are in my gun. A lot of people don't check what rounds they get with a weapon and just hope it, like, you know, it's good ammo, but I just find it's a crucial thing to know what rounds you're firing at the enemy, because then you know what you can penetrate and what you can't penetrate, and if you know that, you know what fights you can take and what fights you can't take. And I think that's one of the most important parts about Tarkov, is understanding who is killable in a straight up fight or who has a massive advantage. That's just the way I looked at it anyway. So what I tend to do when I spawn as a Scav, I want to be moving towards my extract, and the reason I want to be moving towards my extract is the closer I am to my extract, the easier it is for me to get out alive if I find anything good. You know, if I find something amazing at the start of the game, but I'm miles from my extract, it becomes way more likely that I'm going to die on the way to extract than actually get out with it. Whether if I go to the extract first and find stuff around the extract, I can always, you know, evac whenever I need to. Now for some reason sound didn't really record on this one. I think it was because I was using OBS and I tried to make the sound lower so it didn't sound ridiculous, and I just took it too far. But you'll see me spaz out here because I thought I was getting shot at, but it was just some guy unloading right next to us. It was very bad. I was trying to look at that corpse and being like, is that good stuff? And then there's another corpse here. Unfortunately, heat and pipe was not one of my extracts. I had hole in the fence and CP fence. So I wanted to move more across there, but I thought, you know what, let's check this body. Because this is one of the, the best things I love about Scavs is coming across a fight, finding the unlooted guys and, just absolutely taking all the stuff. And that's what happens here. Now this poor guy must have been doing one of the Punisher quests, I believe, where you've got to use a packer. But he had an absolutely fantastic AK-74M. Lovely weapon. Like, that is a really nice weapon. And what I'm doing here is I'm just tossing the stuff I don't need, dragging the stuff on, taking, the little stuff and getting out, because if you notice, that dude still had his dog tags on. So if you find a body that still has dog tags on, or it's unlooted, chances are somebody is near that corpse. There's either someone with a sniper that took him out from a mile away, and they've got an eye on that corpse, or someone took him out right near him, and they're still around. So if you find dog tags on a corpse, get the stuff, get some distance quick. You can re-engage later on if you want to, but you don't want to be still on that corpse when the guy turns around and says, well, it's time to loot. So at this point, I know I've got quite a bit of value of money. I know this AK is worth like 100,000 rubles to purchase. It's got a lot of good things. Even the RK, I think it's the RK1 or RK2 on the front, that's worth about 30,000 to buy from the flea market if you don't have the vendor for it. So what I want to do is I want to get out. You know what I mean? When you factor in all of the other bits and the key that I've got and the extra stuff that I can just sell for pure profit, I've got around 200,000 rubles. And I think 200,000 rubles is a great price point for a scav to just cut out and run. Because 200k can get you a decent kit. It can get you an M1A with, TF4 armor and a helmet and medication. You know what I mean? It's a good price to get out with, because that means your scav has potentially paid for the next set of gear you're going to need. So what I do is I take the scenic route around the back end, I hug the wall, because generally what happens is as the time goes on, players spawn on the outside of the map and move into the middle of the maps. So I use that to my advantage by staying as close to the wall as possible, without getting just lit up on the backside. But you want to be sort of not massively visible, but you want to be avoiding the majority of players that will be in the middle of the map. You could have cut straight across, but that would have took you very close to the 6-story buildings which people would have been in. This might take longer, but it is safer to go the less travelled route. But one of the reasons I wanted to do this style of video is because I find this is how I learned, you know what I mean? I watched Deadly Slob's Hardcore Challenge, I watched him stream, I watched other streamers, I watched other YouTubers. And the reason this works for me is because it's in the moment. You can't really reproduce this as a money making guide and go in and say, well, I'm going to find someone that's been killed and has all his stuff still on him. But you now know that someone has died there from, me experiencing this in a game. You can now check and make sure there's no bodies there when you spawn in, and you can sort of take these little small amounts of information and apply that into the way you play. And that's how I learned, you know what I mean? It was like little things that the streamers do that you pick up on, like the boxes they go to. You tend to get map knowledge and other things. So this is the entirety of Scav Run 1. After selling absolutely everything, it got me 300,000 rubles. With the best selling one being the AK, which I split apart and sold to Mechanic for 76,000. Then I got 150 units of BTS ammo, which sold for 60,000 rubles. And the RB Orb 1 key sold for 54,999. So in those couple alone, that was just shy of 200,000 rubles. But that was something like a 6-7 minute scav run, and I came out with 300,000 rubles. Granted, I got lucky spawning with a good item in the beginning, and I found quite a bit of juice on a guy that wasn't looted. But some of it is chalked up to good decision making, deciding to go to reserve with a certain loadout. These are the types of things I want to show off in this sort of little playthrough, is that you can make decisions that make more useful things happen in the long run. Now, reserve is one of the most PvP dense maps, so that's where you're going to find one of the most of the bodies and stuff. But let me know down below in the comments if you think this style of video could be good. If you've enjoyed this video, let me know. If you can think of anything that might improve this style of video. This was just one scav run without having to explain the rules. Next time I can do 2 or 3 scav runs and break them down and show you really more in depth. This one had to have a lot of explanation about what the series is about and that sort of stuff. But I hope you found this video helpful. I hope you're having a good day, and I'll see you next time.